Wisdom is a woman. Her name is Sophia. You see that word you pronounce, wisdom? It means Sophia. That's what is translated in English, wisdom. You say, lady, you have to court her. You have to court her. You have to woo her. You have to spend time with her. But when you catch her, she will make you turn around everything. So the first pillar is acknowledging that you don't have. And so that's what Solomon did. When the Lord, go back there, 1 Kings 3, when the Lord gave him that open book, ask what I'll give you. The first thing he did was to say, and Solomon said, thou hast showed to thy servant David, my father, great mercy, according as he walked before thee in truth, in righteousness, and in uprightness of heart with thee. That's another subject. You see his perception of his father. A man that walked in integrity, in righteousness, in uprightness of heart. Why is it that Adonijah did not end up the way Solomon ended up? His perception of David is where, you see, when God gives you people to mentor you, to father you, to raise you, your perception can destroy you. Because, you see, this David, was he not the one that had problem with Bathsheba? But that one problem destroyed many sons. Because it doesn't matter. Nobody is perfect. It doesn't matter who you are giving. You can be placed under the greatest pastor that ever lived. His name is Jesus Christ. Judas got lost there. Offense. If they give you Moses, the man that divided the Red Sea to mentor, so you can move to, he has anger problem. And it was that his anger problem that made him not enter. Once you see him, you are gone. You are finished. You go and fix your eyes on the shortcoming. Instead of covering that, you that is looking at another person's nakedness, are you? That's what destroyed one of Noah's sons. Japheth ended up a blessing. Shem ended up a blessing. One, because the man that saved the world built an ark. The Bible calls him a preacher of righteousness. Got drunk. And then I'm looking for that one mentor that doesn't have an issue. Globally. They only look fine when you are far until you are given proximity. So a lot of people are destroyed by this one. And then whenever you see that, it's also lack of meekness. They go and become the judge. They have not graduated though. He said, my father is a man, and it's true. That's also how God describes David. The man that walked in truth, integrity, a man that walked in righteousness, and a man. He had one mistake he made. Yes, but that's part of his process to come here. But, you know, that mistake destroyed Absalom. Do you know that's where his problem? And if you don't have that right perception, the things that are coming that will help you, you won't get it. You won't. Judas had to do with money, and Jesus gave him one sharp correction once. A woman brought an alabaster box. But this is a thief that is under mentorship. And we're trying to get rid of these lepers. Is now complaining about a woman who came and sowed the seed of alabaster. Jesus said, leave her alone. What she is doing is for my burial. He pretended that he cared about the poor. Bible said, that was it. Offense. Offense opened door for evil demons to get inside him. It got the other SIM card. That's what is called a virus. When it enters your computer. You can now sit and put the same knowledge you put in others, they got it. When you put your own, that thing destroys and corrupts it. It will take that same humility that you did not have to go fall on your face and cry to God to bring antivirus and clean up your system. It will take repentance this time. Not just humility, but repentance. Then that thing can be cleaned. Or you don't, your life is ruined. You will never find your part. You will never find your part again. And the enemy is out there shooting viruses at people, shooting viruses at people, shooting viruses at people. When the man was talking about covenant relationship, establishing both upward, both horizontal, and all of that. And one of the areas where you have to also observe covenant relationship with your spouse too. If you don't, because what it does is part of the system God uses to shield you, your antivirus system. It's part of it. Then if you don't have meekness, because even if you're going off and you are meek, you can be corrected, you can be protected. Enemy messes your life up. Some of the brightest people have been ruined. So the first pillar is wisdom, is ignorance, acknowledging. So this is what Solomon did. He said, you've also given David a son to sit on the throne as it is this day. He said, you have kept to my father this great kindness by giving him a son. He saw that even his rising is part of God blessing the covenant he made with David. Okay, look at the next verse. So he said, your servant, now, oh my God, you have made your servant king instead of David, my father. I'm a little child. I don't know how to go out or come in. You see what I'm talking about? Acknowledge that you don't know. If anyone lacks wisdom, then he can ask. If you carry like you know, that's why you will die not knowing. When you come before God, when you come before your mentors, I was explaining to Pastor Sarah. I said, the things I know, I already know. So, when I meet greatness, the things, I'm not interested in sharing what I know. I'm always asking questions. Because I'll go sit with Pastor Wampa. I do mentorship with him every Tuesday. And one or two times she will escort me. She will say, I'm always with a note. I'm always asking questions. And sometimes he treats an area that I'm doing something about. And I'll just sit there and ask questions. And when we're going, he said, but you taught us something about this area. I said, so what? What I know, I already know. I want to find out, because it's not just information. I said, that man is pirating. Piracy used to say, once he's in the front driving, I'm at the back, I can sleep. He's taking the man. That's the man that went to England, brought him his second wife when his wife died. That's the one that stood there. It was his best man. That's one that. I've asked other elders. So I'm trying to collect 2 generations of wisdom. You can be richer than your father. After all, Solomon surpassed David. You can travel more. You can have more PhD. It doesn't mean anything. So, I'm but a little child. I don't know how to go out and come in. Lord, you've asked us to take nations. We don't know how to go about it. Lord, you've given me a church to pastor. I don't know how to go about this. Lord, you've given me a wife, running a family. Women are complex. I don't know how to. Give me wisdom to manage this woman and these children and build a world-class family for your name. Lord, you asked us to reach nations. Nation building is a complex thing. Transformation is such. Give me wisdom and understanding heart. You see what is going on here? Like you asked me to start this massive thing towards drug addicts. Addiction is so, I don't fool. So that thing, apart from asking for the SIM card, because of that attitude, that meekness, it now drives you to seek for knowledge. to read, to study, to go for training, to go for... That's why some other people don't have any motivation to go. So if you now check, the second pillar is now knowledge. Is going to acquire, to get training, to seek for mentorship, to study, to listen, to all that. If you see what goes on with me, you'll be shocked. Because the machine is empty without feeding it with raw materials. Doesn't process me anything until I feed it. People see me, whether it is PCJ or... and I'm taking notes. I was telling Pastor Ike when he taught this morning that my own note is not 7 C's. I ended up with 8 because he said calling and conviction. Conviction was my number 2, C2. It's because it's so heavy. The mission, you've got mission. You need values, strong faith and strong values. It's number 2. So I ended up with 8, not 7. I took... And some people see me, they think it's because you raise the person, you are a joker. That machine produces nothing until I feed it raw materials. Then the third pillar is understanding. Now that's where this thing is processed and is now assimilated. So why the knowledge level is acquiring information, acquiring education, acquiring training, acquiring order. The understanding level is processing it and assimilating it. Assimilation of knowledge. Like I said, knowledge is now what it is. Understanding is what it means. And understanding is why it is so. You now understand the purpose of what you've learned, what it's meant for, why it is like that. You're on a level, another level. You have left the other people behind. Then the fourth pillar now is wisdom. Wisdom now is application. So why knowledge is what it is, understanding is what it means, wisdom is how it is used. Wisdom is how it is applied. Wisdom is now technology. You have a know-how. So that level is reserved for only practitioners. It is those, so that's why the obedience-based thing is so critical. Because the discovery approach might deliver knowledge. Sometimes it can deliver understanding because of corporate brainstorming and all of that. But wisdom is only reserved for doers, for practitioners. You can learn all my teachings or healing ministry till you start healing the sick. You will never see my back. There are things that are now open to you that's hard to find in books. You can sit in the best theological school, study missiology, be a teacher of missions, but you don't go. You don't do it. You are just a professor. All you have is level 1, information. And people can come collect that information, but if they go to practice it, they will be operating at a level you will never get. I don't want to sit as GO, be answering GO, go, and be sending orders and never went. I want to be an example of what I'm asking others to do. And part of how I gain wisdom in deployment and in managing other leaders is that anything at all, I go and do it first. Then I'll see what is not good for other people, what is not good for their family. I see what wives go through. I see what children. And after seeing it, it gives me wisdom. And that's why I'm a compassionate and balanced in leadership of managing other people's lives. I now started learning certain things That's when I realized that mission is not just the myopic thing they taught us in the school. Mission has been God's movement. Abraham did it. All these people did it. Joseph did it. Daniel did it. And all that. So Daniel, was he poor? Was Abraham poor? Was Joseph poor? Where did we get this new theology? Is that not what Jesus came to do on earth? And he learned a trade. When they run into, if we all trade, where all the skills, business skills, when they run into need for money for fishing, what did he tell Peter to do? Pull out that your original skill that you left. Go and use it and provide us tax money. So that's what Paul finally packaged. What's what we're calling tent making. I had to learn it. I'm going to show you people a few things now as I close. So you see how missionaries can save their time and focus on the work. Because now we're talking about business. Some of you will go and that will distract you. You leave the work. You start pursuing money. You will see what I did and what I now teach others. This is no more the theory. This is now wisdom in operation. Wisdom, it is not wisdom till you do it. It is not wisdom till you start practicing. When you live here, you need to go plant a church, plant a cell, and grow that cell, and learn this multiplication. And then you start how to launch a movement. I need to turn this to a movement so that it will multiply. So you go back, listen to that message. Okay. Okay, let me show you something. Proverbs chapter 4. Let's read from verse 1. Please, Proverbs chapter 4. Here, you children, the instruction of a father. This is Solomon. I told you that there are 3 sources. This is one of the sources. Just because they gave him the machine and the SIM card that processes wisdom doesn't mean you don't learn anymore from people. David mentored him very well. Okay, instruction of a father, attend to know understanding. Verse 1. Verse 2. For I give you good doctrine, forsake not my law. Verse 3. Verse 3. For I was my father's son. He's talking about David. Tender and beloved in the sight of my mother. Verse 4. He taught me also and said to me. Let me pause and say something. If you never make reference to others, you will never be a reference. The wisest man on earth is quoting somebody else. Did he remove anything from him being very wise? Some of you will say, no, I got it directly from the Lord. It came to me direct, straight. Shut up. It's your pride that will not allow you to go anywhere. It won't allow you. You think that's how to create your special importance. You know, pride has types. What the worst type is spiritual pride. Is worse than pride of life. Pride of life is boasting about my car, my accomplishment, my house, my degree, my different things. Spiritual pride is spiritual thing again, becomes your downfall. Anyway, I was my father's son. He taught me. He said, let your heart retain my words, keep my commandments and live. Verse 5. Please, verse 5. Oh, get wisdom, get understanding, forget it not, neither declare from the words of my mouth. So, where did Solomon know what to ask God when that opportunity was given? You can see what his Baba taught him. Get wisdom, get understanding, forget it not, neither declare from the words of my mouth. Verse 7, verse 6. Forsake her not. What will happen? She will preserve it. 24 major things she delivers. It's more than that, but there are 24 core. Protection is one of them. Preservation. Love her, she shall keep thee. That's protection. Then verse 7. Wisdom is a principal thing. Therefore, get wisdom with all you are getting. What? Can you give another translation for that one? Another translation for verse 7. This is what David taught him. Getting wisdom is the wisest thing you can do. Whatever else you do, develop what? You know what good judgment is? Good understanding. Discernment. Develop discernment. It's the most important thing you can do. So with this mentorship from David, the opportunity showed up. And that's what I'm doing for you now. Because it separates one pastor from another. It separates one businessman from another. It separates one governor from another. It separates people. Verse 8. Verse 8. Some of the things he will do for you. Exalt her. She will promote you. She will bring you honor when you embrace her. You notice that it's her, Sophia. Verse 9. She shall give to your head an ornament of grace, favor, a crown of glory. This one will turn you into a leader and give you your own crown. This woman, you're looking for a girlfriend, this is the first one you need to have. Sophia. Verse 10. Verse 10. Okay, now, the reason I turn to Proverbs chapter 4 is to show you the process that generates understanding. And then from there to wisdom. That's why I came here. Because the wisest man revealed the process. And Jesus also revealed it again in the New Testament. Go to verse 20 and show them the process. My son, attend to my words. So attend to my words is the first instruction. Number 2, incline your ear to my saying. The second thing is the listening. And today with iPod, with different method of listening. So if I read, it's not enough. I also use audio and all that. I also find a way to, because faith comes by hearing, not by reading. It can come by reading if you add meditation. So that's number 2 instruction. Number 3, yes, go ahead. Go ahead. Let them not depart from your eyes. So I like visual. That's why I like to watch. So I've engaged my ear. I've engaged study. I've engaged my eyes. Then number 4, keep them in the midst of your heart. This one now. How do I transfer it from my head to my heart? Everyone say meditation. Say meditation. That's 5th instruction. Number 2, the next one. For they are life to those that find them and hell to all their flesh. Actually, when God was giving the instruction to Joshua, the same instruction, he added his mouth. His mouth. That the book of the Lord shall not depart from your mouth. So you are to meditate on it day and night. So my eye gate, my ear gate, my mouth gate, plus my mind gate through meditation, so you can get into my heart, which is the hard disk. Actually, what he's saying, until something gets into your subconscious, it's not yet you. It can be in your mind, in your conscious, and you find that you have something you know, but your behavior is contradicts what you know. You know something, you're even teaching it to people, but your life, you're doing a different thing. Because it's not yet you. It has not been made flesh. But when it gets to your subconscious is the one that controls your behavior. So finally it gets down to your heart. And when it gets down to your heart, it becomes you. Because as a man thinks in his heart, so is it. And the person is changed. And then he starts delivering to you the different things he promised. So, the one thing you notice when he was giving instruction is that the last instruction, go back to verse 21, let them see that instruction, has to do with retention. Okay, let them not depart. And in almost every chapter in the book of Proverbs, there is instruction about this thing not departing from you. Because there is a 5th pillar, and the 5th pillar is foolishness. That's what Pastor Ike was talking about by a lot of people that are jabbering. Foolishness is now the rejection of wisdom, the abandonment of wisdom, is when you file divorce. You get her, you get blessed, you collect. So what happened is, after a while, some people, as they prosper, some people as they change environment, some people as they get into new relationships, that challenges, then they abandon what they have been taught, what they have been raised with. They abandon their values, and then that man is foolish. There's a difference between foolishness and ignorance. Ignorant person does not know. A foolish man knows, but walked away from it. And that's when the consequences come heavy. Usually in the time of ignorance, God tolerates, God overlooks. He treats you like a child. Children do a lot of nonsense. Babies, they can poo-poo on your shirt. You don't flow, But now, a man that has gained knowledge, we understand, is not an adult. He walks away from it. God now, both the demonic world and the divine world combine to deliver. They go through a lot of problems. A lot of people walk away after they prosper. When they become big, they get proud. Okay, this is a good example, the man we are studying. 1 Kings chapter 11. So you will now find that Solomon wrote 2 major wisdom books. One, when he was walking in wisdom. One, after he has become stupid and destroyed a lot of things. But he recovered before dying. And it's mercy that God showed him. Because a lot of people have gone to hell. But he recovered. So he wrote another book to correct people not to make the mistakes he made. That second book is Ecclesiastes. Ecclesiastes was written after he had made all the mistakes. But he came back to his senses. He didn't recover the glory God gave him, but at least he recovered his sense. And he died. That's why he's part of those who are going to resurrect. You will meet when the resurrection comes. It's like Samson again. If Samson has written a book after Delilah. So there are 2 kinds of people you listen to. First is a wise man, a person that is walking in the ways of God. There's a person you must avoid if you're going to have wisdom and return it. Is a man that's walking in the counsel of the ungodly, a man that is walking against God's values. Stay away from such people, because evil communication, of course the Bible says he that walks with a wise man will end up what? Being wise. But the companion of fools will be what? Watch how Adam lost it. I read a document that showed that Adam lived in the Garden of Eden for 7 full years before he was kicked out. Because if you read it in Genesis, because of the edited, it's just short account, you think they maybe stayed there, the next day they lost the garden. No, God comes to mentor this man at the cool of the day, mentored by God directly, the way David mentored Solomon. 7 years of training. It was only 3.5 years that Jesus trained his disciples. Satan came to test him. But you see how he lost it. He was a stranger with a different value system, corrupt. He came through his wife. And this is not a man that doesn't know. This is the one that knows. That's why the Bible says Adam was not deceived. The woman was deceived, but Adam was not deceived. The choice was between God and his wife. He chose to go with her, and he destroyed everything. So 1 Kings 11. The Bible says Solomon loved many strange women. 1 Kings chapter 11, I'm reading from verse 1. He loved many strange women, together with the daughters of Pharaoh, women of Moabites, Amorites, Edomites, Zidonites. Isn't this one of the things that destroys diasporas? Sometimes missionaries. Hittites. Then verse 2. Of the nation concerning which the Lord said to the children of Israel, you shall not go into them, neither shall you come in unto you. For surely they will turn away your heart after their God. Solomon clave unto this in love. Now, when he started it, he probably thought, at my level, it's not possible. They can't affect me. What? This small girl, this 18-year-old, what? Me worship idol? It's impossible. See the next verse. And he had 700 wives, princesses, and 300. Because when you have money at the level, multi-billionaire, maybe even a trillionaire, man was very rich. Wisdom made him rich. So he's now collecting trophies, and women were part of it. Yeah. Till today, if you have the means, there are many ladies that will be willing to. You don't know. His wife turned away his heart. Did you see that? Verse 4. This is what shocked me. It came to pass when Solomon was old. His wife turned away his heart after other God. His heart was not perfect with the Lord his God, as was what? You see how God sees David, as was David his father. Look, watch the next verse, verse 5. Solomon went after Ashtaroth. This goddess, this is the goddess they worship with immorality and sex. It's goddess of fertility. Solomon, you are now, and after Milcom. Milcom is Baal, the one they sacrifice children to. They burn people's children to fire for in offering to. You now, child sacrifice, this man of God, that God appeared to 2 times. Watch. He went after Milcom, the abomination of the Amorites. Then verse 6. And Solomon did evil in the sight of the Lord, went not fully after the Lord, did David his father. Verse 7. Then did Solomon build high place. He's now building. The person that built church, built temple, is now building, is now interfaith movement. I believe in different religion. That's what you are now preaching in UK. Because you are now in the Western country. They sent you to go and do masters. And what you will throw away is one that died for you, the one that saved you, the one that created you, and his wisdom, and went to sell to the enemy. And I'm doing interfaith movement. So all the religion, he's building temples for them. He built for Chemosh, the abomination of Moab, in the hill before Jerusalem. He built for Molech, the abomination of children of Ammon. This offering child sacrifice. Verse 8. Likewise, he did for all his strangers. So when you have 700 wives, you can imagine 700 religions they brought from different countries. He built for all of them. He has the money. The same money God gave him. You see what he's sponsoring now. I'm not going to give again. All these tithes. Because you have gotten wise. God has now blessed you. You were disturbing everybody, crying, begging God, fasting when you were looking for the breakthrough. He has now come. All these hungry pastors. But you see, you will give to something, whether you like it or not. You will submit to something. If you to serve God, you will serve something. Even if you choose atheism, atheism is religion. But you will pay for it. If you now look, you see consequences started. But of course, David was a restraining factor for God. Look at verse 9. And he was born in incest and sacrificed. Look at it. Go back. The man that have taught sacrifice in church, he doesn't want to give God now. Look at where he's giving it. Sacrificed unto these gods. Verse 9. And well, God was angry with Solomon because his heart was turned away from the Lord God, which had appeared to him twice. A man that used to know the anointing. Verse 10. Verse 10. And had commanded him concerning this thing. Then verse 11. Wherefore the Lord said, for as much as this is done by thee, you have not kept my covenant and my statutes, which I had commanded. I will surely take away the kingdom from thee, give it to your servant. Give it to another person. But he now said in verse 12, notwithstanding, in your days I will not do it for what? The same thing, he turned away from the same thing that saved him. It's the same David that saved him. The same David. Because God keeps covenant. If I completely, then what I promised David falls. So I'll just take away all the tribes, leave one tribe. So that through that I'll keep the covenant till the Messiah comes. You see that temple and all that thing he built, Solomon's temple, order, destroyed, burned to ashes. You see that house he built to the Lord, burned down to ashes. You see the nation he built, the greatest nation on earth at that time, burned down to ashes. You see all the treasures he gathered, Solomon's treasure, he became the richest man, all of them stolen and carried away to Babylon. You see, the same thing that takes you to the top is what you must maintain to stay on top. If not, you see all the things you accomplish can be destroyed overnight. Foolishness. It's not a man that didn't know that was ignorant. God usually have patience with them. It's somebody has invested in. You see the kind of things you are hearing. See the kind of things you are receiving here. Do yourself and your children some favor to walk in the ways of God and keep covenant with him.